minutes, and it gets to be a bit longer than that when I have, of course, things I need to talk about in more detail. But today won't be one of those days. So the longest part about my live broadcast is that I give a snapshot of what it means to be Black in America, and I have to read some stuff as it relates to what we're up against and what we're facing. So that takes about 10 minutes, and then I have to give I'm sorry, it takes about 15 minutes, and then I have to give my summation. So I'm going to attempt to again make 25 minutes today with this live broadcast and be done with it, and wish you guys a happy weekend. So let me get into it. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm a contributing member of the Black Gold Nation movement. Our ultimate goal is to establish communities around the world where our people can be physically safe, and whereby we can have the kind of communities that have influence, value, and power because we own and control the environment. That is our ultimate goal. And we understand to get to that point, we need a lot of things. Concretely, we need 3 of them. People that are on the ground ready to do wherever we're trying to do it. Leadership that understands what needs to be done and are willing to teach the people on the ground how to do it in a way to adequately protect all of it. Because if you did not know, let me be the first to tell you that every single thing we've done in this country to move ourselves forward and even around the world has been targeted for destruction by the power dynamic at that time and or of that time, which is white people and their governments. From here in America to anywhere you go in the world, whenever we try to do something for ourselves, there's been pushback from a non-melanated group, and that has not changed in 2019. But the fact that that hasn't changed doesn't mean that we do not continue to push on. We do not continue to fight, continue to organize, continue to strategically move ourselves to a position whereby we have more than we currently have, and our children have an easier life to live in this country or wherever we decide to make that decision. So that is the ultimate goal of what the Black Gold Nation movement is all about. I am the revolutionary product, if you will, of direct tutelage of Cardinal and Bayou Chewy out of the Shrines of the Black Madonna, and an indirect product of the father of liberation theology, Reverend Albert B. Clegg, or as we called him by his African title and name, Jaramogi Baby Ajiman. So that is who I am. That is what we are about. That's how I got here as far as my revolutionary training. And that is what we are all about and what we're trying to do. So the Black reality in 2019, this is a brief snapshot that I've been doing for the past maybe 3-4 weeks, trying to give our people an understanding of what it means to be Black in America, what we're up against, so that there are no illusions about our reality in this country and around the world. So I give this snapshot because I want everybody to be clear on where I'm coming from, what my perspective is, and why we, the supporters and members of the Black Gold Nation movement, why we do what we do. Okay, so the black reality in 2019 right now is as follows. And again, this is a snapshot. This is not everything. It's a snapshot of what we're up against and what it means to be Black in America. The bottom 50% of Black households are worth less than $1. We got more brothers incarcerated in America than all women incarcerated worldwide. We have more brothers incarcerated in America than all women are incarcerated worldwide, which has created a significant shortage of Black men in our communities, which directly affects the strength of our relationships, our families, and our communities. And of course, that imprisonment and incarceration is on purpose. Black farmers are still being discriminated against. Federal judges recently ruled that the USDA systematically, which means it's on purpose, denied Black and Native American farmers loans and disaster payments. And as a result of the past century, Black farmers have lost 80% of their land. That's only about 5% of the approximately, that leaves only about 5% of the approximate 2,000 million farms that exist. This study observed that farmers of color were disproportionately affected by obstacles in transferring land ownership from generation to generation, often resulting in the family losing that land. The USDA, via the usage of GMOs, genetically modified organisms, is seeking to replace how natural and organic foods are grown to control the food we consume globally. This is critical for us to understand, because if they can control how food is grown globally, they, meaning the American government or Caucasian power structures, will they poison us or deny us what we need to survive? And we know they have poisoned people in the past, and they have starved people in the past. So if they can control, or better yet, if we can't control our own food sources and we rely on them, what will they do with that power? and they don't have a good history of doing good things with the power that they wield. Next thing, food deserts, which is defined as an area that has limited access to affordable, nutritious food, exists in almost every predominantly Black community in this country. Automation, artificial intelligence, and machine language is replacing millions of jobs. The White House has just removed 3 million people from the food stamp rolls, and of course, there are more white people on food stamps than Black people, but which is defined as assassinations, murders, kidnappings, organ and sex trafficking, and crimes committed by white people in Black masks and skins is happening in Black communities nationwide. If you've ever seen the movie The Purge, then you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure all of them are on Netflix. You need to go watch it. Again, purge activity is illegal activity happening against Black people in an extreme fashion. And most of that, per my research, is happening by people that don't look like us. But of course, a lot of it is happening by us. And the point is that we have to deal with that, because that's part of what it means to be Black in America, to have to deal with activities in your community that seem to be trying to purge you and your people from that community. The next thing, of our children, Black children that live and exist in America's inner cities, because of the levels of physical, mental and spiritual violence and trauma that exists in that community, a major study has shown that some 46.5% of our children who live in America's inner cities suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. This is a condition that's normally found in some 11 to 20% of veterans that have seen combat. So our children are exhibiting symptoms of a psychological condition that most people have after they come back from combat. And our children in America's inner cities are exhibiting this condition at double the rate. Our children are exhibiting symptoms of combat stress and trauma in America's inner cities, which affects their ability to learn, build relationships. It makes them more susceptible to depression, drug use, and suicide. As of February 17th, every state in this country investing more in juvenile prisons than elementary and middle schools. As of February 2017, every state in this country was investing more in juvenile prisons than elementary and middle schools. What does that mean? Portland police recently digitally removed tattoos from a Black man's face to make him look like a suspect. Again, I'm talking about what it means to be Black in America and what we're up against. Over 900 white supremacist organizations are in existence right now, many of whom are training for a race war. There have been 304. The last time I did a live broadcast last week, it was 291. And now that number has gone to 304. There have been 304 mass shootings in America since the beginning of this year. And as I have said, as I've been saying, as the numbers are showing, there will be more. Again, the last time I did a live broadcast, there were 291 mass shootings in this country. That number is now 304, and it's only going to rise. The Department of Homeland Security, in a recent study, has found that state and local law enforcement agencies nationwide have been infiltrated with neo-Nazi members and started secret terror cells developed to terrorize Black and Latino residents. Again, the Department of Homeland Security in a recent study has found that state and local law enforcement agencies nationwide have been infiltrated with neo-Nazi members, and they've started secret terror cells to develop and terrorize Black and Latino residents. Are these mass shootings dry runs for what could be planned? Very possible. The Donald Trump administration under Jeff Sessions has reinstituted the privatizing of federal prisons, which of course means there's a profit motive. Under President Trump and every president prior to, the FBI's official counterterrorism priorities have included, quote, Black identity extremists, anti-authority extremists, and animal rights and environmental extremists. The Donald Trump administration has refused to label and pursue domestic terrorism by white identity extremists on the same level that they have as foreign terrorists. There have been more terroristic acts or more acts of terrorism committed on American soil since 9/11 by white identity extremists than any other group on this planet. But the government is not pursuing these groups for whatever reason, and they are instead pursuing people who they have classified and or identified as Black identity extremists, authority extremists, anti-authority extremists, or environmental extremists, despite the fact that the evidence shows who the real terrorists are, white people, white men. The government is not going after those people. Approximately 25.4% of the American population in the United States identify as evangelical Christians. And over 25%, some 20 million plus people support Donald Trump. That's a problem for us. We have to deal with over 100 conservative think tanks focusing on maintaining white supremacy and white power. We have to deal with the criminal justice system that's always been unjust to us, a bail bond system that's always been unfair and unjust, an education system that's never properly educated our parents, my generation, and our children today, and they never will, because that's not why they are there. We have to deal with a school-to-prison pipeline that is alive and well and highly functional in American society, a multi-billion-dollar prison industrial complex that you can buy stock in. So if you can buy stock in the U.S. prison system or the U.S. private prison system, then what's the commodity? Free labor. Redlining, gerrymandering, and gentrification, which is political power working against us, not for us. We have to deal with that as well. Over the past decade, the annual estimates of the number of gangs that exist in the United States is over 27,000. That's a problem for us because we have to not only deal with our people being traumatized and terrorized and oppressed by this American government, but also by organizations that have black people in them and that are ran by black people. Gangs terrorize our own people, black in America, and what we have to deal with and what we're facing. It's been 5 years since Flint, Michigan had safe water to drink, bathe in, and use. The majority of Puerto Rico citizens went without power for over 11 months. In fact, that did not have to happen. The Donald Trump administration Citizenship and Immigration Services Department is seeking to change language on the Statue of Liberty from "give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses journey to breathe free" to language that translates to "give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and who will not become a public charge." The whole point of government is to take care of the people. The government is there for the people. But America is changing, and they want that change to state that you can only come here if you promise to never, ever, 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 ever need government assistance. The majority of the corporations that exist right now in America would not exist, at least the large ones, if it were not for corporate bailouts, which is corporate welfare. America is changing, and those changes are not pro-black. The Department of Justice has proven that cities like Baltimore and Chicago have, quote, engaged in a pattern in the practice of conduct that violates the First, Fourth, and 14th Amendments. The First Amendment deals with your freedom of religion, speech, the press, and the right to address your government, petition your government for redress. The Fourth Amendment allows for protection from unlawful search and seizures. And the 14th Amendment allows for citizenship and equal rights after slavery was ended. The Donald Trump administration has also repealed civil rights protections all across this country in HUD, Commerce, and other governmental departments. So that is a snapshot of what it means to be black in America. As a snapshot of what we're up against in America. All of that stuff can be reviewed. All that stuff can be researched. All of that stuff can be proven. Please do not take my word for it. Watch this again. Make note of what I said and research it yourself. And again, this is a snapshot. That is not a complete and or exhaustive list of what it means to be black in America and what we're up against. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we have some very serious issues that we have to deal with. We don't have time to waste complaining about things that don't matter. We don't have time to waste talking about things that don't matter. We don't have time to be for ourselves and our children. They have influence, value, and power. We have to be in a position where we can own and control the environment. And if we're not in that position, not only are we going to continue to lose, but we'll continue to get what we've been getting, which of course is not enough. Now, the title of this morning's Facebook post was a quote from Nelson Mandela, and the quote was, "It always seems impossible until it's done." It always seems impossible until it's done. How are we going to push back against everything that I just read? How are we going to create opportunities for ourselves given everything that I just read? How are we going to take this snapshot of what it means to be black in America and flip it in a fashion where those things don't exist, or they're not affecting us at all? They're affecting somebody else, or we've completely wiped them out. How are we going to take something that seems impossible and make it possible? Reverse all of it so that it doesn't exist or that it's not affecting us, because we have things in place to push back against all of it. The quote from Nelson Mandela is, "It always seems impossible until it's done." I don't like to talk about things just for the sake of talking. I don't like talking about problems and not giving solutions. I don't want to get my people upset, angry, afraid, pissed off, whatever, and leave them hanging with just a list of problems. In the Black Gold Nation movement, we are about solutions. That's the whole point of why it was developed. And if we don't have a solution for it, again, we're not talking about it, or we're in the process of researching a solution for that problem. So Nelson Mandela says it always seems impossible until it's done. Everything that we're facing seems impossible. How are we going to push back against all that stuff? Because most of it has been happening for a very long time. And if we don't put ourselves in a position to push back against it, it's going to continue to happen for a very long time. But I'm here to tell you that our people, Black people, are not intellectually inferior. We're not economically inferior. We're not physically or spiritually inferior or deficient in any way. We do have a blueprint to push back against everything that we're up against, so that we can make some things possible for ourselves and our people moving forward. If we're going to understand the things that seem to be impossible, if we're going to understand how to push back against them, then we have to understand that problem. So I just gave you a brief snapshot of what it means to be Black in America. I gave you it, I think it's almost 3 pages long as to the things that I just read. I don't think anybody would disagree with me that if we had $500 million per month, then we can make some of those things go away. I don't think anybody would disagree with me that if we had $500 million per month, we could put some things in place to protect our people. We could put some things in place to eliminate food deserts. We could put some things in place to create business opportunities in our communities. We could put some things in place to push back against the school to prison pipeline. We could put some things in place to better educate our people. We can put some things in place that will allow our people to be connected to Black people around the world, which will allow us to continue to move forward in a unified fashion as much as possible. I don't think anybody would disagree with me that $500 million per month used in the fashion that's going to help Black people be bigger, better, and stronger is a good idea. Is how do we get that kind of money? Now, if you've heard any of my live broadcasts before, you've heard me say, which I will continue to say, that the movie Black Panther, that most of us loved, we gave that movie $500. I take that back. We gave that movie $750 to $800 million in that first month. That movie made $1 billion in the first month, and conservative estimates are that Black people gave 75 to 80% of that $1 billion. So we have money. Money isn't the issue. The issue is that we're not connected and organized in the fashion that will allow us to get that money from our people and use that money for the sake of our people. So I am telling you that everything we need to put ourselves in a position to win, we already have. And we know our people still have that money. So the question is, how do you go about getting that money from Black people? I think you simply ask them for that money. But when you ask Black people for that kind of money, you need to give them a reason as to why they should give it, and you need to explain to them what's going to be done with the money. Now, we've been having for the past, I think 3 or 4 weeks, we launched the Black Gold Nation, Black Church, and Black Organization Survival Summit. We say Black Church because our people go to church. We say Black Organization because our people are part of organizations. And of course, we say Black Nation because that is what we are. That's what we try to create, a Black nation that has power, influence, and value that can help create a different reality for our people. So we've been having the Survival Summit so that we can focus on the specific things that are destroying our people, destroying our communities, hurting our children, hurting our brothers, hurting our sisters, our elders. We want to focus on these specific problems, and then we want to give the solution per our leadership. We focus on spiritual healing and well-being. We focus on agribusiness, feeding ourselves for the next 100 years. We focus on doing business with Africa outside the country. We focus on building a political machine that will allow us to take over several American cities by organizing ourselves politically. And we still have a lot more topics to deal with. We're not just talking about good ideas. We're talking about solutions that have proven to work, because the people that are rolling these solutions out have been doing them for a number of years. What we're saying is that we already have people in place who know how to push back against the very things that are destroying the lives of Black people. We already have people in place who know how to push back against the systematic threats to Black life. Everything that's a challenge to the Black mind, body, spirit, and psyche. We have people in place that know how to push back against those threats. And I am saying, if we don't continue to focus on the reality of what it means to be Black in America, and if we don't get behind some people that know what they're doing to push back against that reality, then we're going to continue to lose. Now, again, I don't think anybody would disagree with me that $500 million per month is a lot of money that can be used. But how do you go about getting that? How do you get that kind of Black Panther money from Black people? How do you get the black church money? Conservative estimates are that black people, give to the black church $250 million per week on average to the black church. That's over $1 billion per month. Just taking those two examples, the movie The Black Panther and the black church, we have more than enough economic resources we need to put ourselves in a position to win. But how do we get that money from our people? I think we ask them. And we ask them by always be about recruiting black people to bring them into this movement so that they can help us focus on this reality of what it means to be black in America. But more importantly, we can give them something to do that's going to help us push back against that reality. Now, as I've said for the past few weeks, we've been having community webinars to talk about the different things that are destroying our people and to give concrete solutions as to what we can do to push back against those threats. We're adding an event that's going to be the Monday before the last Monday in November. We're going to have this event, and that's going to be the Monday before we have the national rollout of the Survival Summit. There are, by my research, over 85,000 black churches in this country. Over 85,000 black churches in America. A lot of people have a problem with the black church. I think we can't afford to divide ourselves because we disagree with somebody's religion. That's why we don't do religion in this organization. 85,000 black churches. What could we do if we had those churches on board? We could do a lot. But we're going to put the black church aside for a moment. And we're going to focus on two other institutions that we have in the community that we could use to move our people forward. Barbershops and beauty salons. We have a lot of black churches. But I venture to say that we probably have double, if not triple, barbershops and beauty salons in this country. So what we're going to do to help bring more people on board with this organization, to aggressively, strategically, and methodically go after that Black Panther money, we're going to give our people an opportunity in a great way, in a huge way, to see our introductory presentation, Nation Within a Nation. That presentation has a 97, 98% success rate. I can count on one hand. I can count on 3 fingers the number of times a black person has seen the presentation and has said thanks but no thanks. More often than not, if a black person loves black people and they see our presentation, they agree to come on board and support us in some way. We want to give more black people that opportunity by giving them an opportunity to see the presentation. So the last November, let me make sure I got the date right. The last Monday in November, which is November 25th, the Survival Summit presentation is December 7th. So on November 25th, the name we're using right now, I'm not sure if it's going to change or not, but we're calling this the Black Go Nations Barber and Beauty Shop Nation Building Alliance. I think that's what we're calling it. The Black Go Nations Barber and Beauty Shop Nation Building Alliance. The idea is that we want to connect with as many barbershop and beauty supply owners as possible in this country. Most of them are closed on Mondays. We want to, from now to them, bring as many of them on board and get them to open their doors on a Monday evening for a live Zoom presentation so that they, some of their patrons, and all of us around the country that decide to be a part can see the Nation Within a Nation presentation. We want to utilize barbershops and beauty salons, which probably double, if not triple, the number of black churches we have in this country, to have a community meeting. We want to have a sit down with brothers all across the country. We want to have a sit down with sisters all across the country at the same time. We want to invite them to a Zoom presentation so that they can see an overview of what we're talking about, what we're trying to do, how we're going to go about what we're actually doing it, what we're actually doing to go about doing it, and how they can be a part. If we have 85 in this country, and the number of black barbershops and beauty salons double, if not triples that number, and we have 5 to 10 people in each barber shop or beauty salon for this one-time event, how many new people can we bring on board? How much more intellectual capital can we add to what we're trying to do? How many more good ideas and physical capital can we add to what we're trying to do? Our problem is not intellectual capital. Our problem is not economic capital. Our problem is not spiritual or physical capital. Our problem is connectivity and organization. We're not connected to one another, and we're not organized. So what we're saying is that via this new event that is going to happen the last Monday in November, and then the following, the first Saturday in November, which is December 7th, we're going to have the national rollout of the Survival Summit. We want to bring as many people on board as possible and show them what we're doing, invite them to be a part so that we can put ourselves in a position to win. Again, no logical, sane Black person is going to disagree with me that $500 million per month is not enough money to make some changes in the Black community. I am saying our people have that money. Our children need that money. And we need to ask our people to give it the exact same way Disney and Marvel Studios asked them to give a lot more than that, which we did give a lot more than that. If we're going to have to put our people in position to win, to do that, we have to bring them in. We have to bring them to a solution that they can understand, that they will agree with, that's simple, relatively quick, and it's not going to hurt them economically. So with that, if you want more information about the Black Gold Movement, please check out our website, blackgoldnation.com. Click on About, read the mission. If you like the mission, go to our events website, Black Gold-Wakanda Rising. Click on presentations, RSVP for a presentation, Nation Within Nation, so you can see what we're talking about and help us make this thing happen in a fashion that's never happened before. Help us make history by coming on board and becoming a part and a supporter of the Black Gold Nation movement. With that, thank you guys for being a part of the live broadcast. Please share this with 5, 10, 15, 20 people. And always remember two things. Nothing is more sacred than the liberation and salvation of Black people. And lastly, always remember that no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. Thank you very much. God bless you and have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.